The documentary film was made through the efforts of the Georgian Muslims Union. Batumi is the capital of the Autonomous Republic of Adjara, located in southwest Georgia. Adjara was granted this status in an agreement between Russia and Turkey, March 21, 1921. According to clause of the Treaty of Kars, we learned that the local population shall enjoy greater measure of autonomy. That each community is guaranteed its cultural and religious rights. This population may introduce in the above-mentioned places an agrarian system to conformity with its own wishes. The rights of Muslim population living in Adjara were the main condition for Turkey to cede Adjara to Georgia. According to the 2012 census, the population of Batumi net 125,000. More than half of the population is Muslim. There are currently 15 active churches in Batumi, including one Catholic, one Armenian, one Protestant, and the rest 12 are Orthodox. Before the establishment of communist rule, there were 3 active mosques in Batumi, but only one remains today. 2 were totally destroyed during communist regime. The current mosque is too small for a large number of Muslim worshippers. Therefore, a request was made for the construction of a new mosque. However, no approval has been granted. The Mufti administration has changed muftis 5 times within its existence. The construction of a new mosque was a top priority for all of them during their time in power, and they asked the government to solve this issue and satisfy the demand of population to construct a new mosque in Batumi. There is not enough space in Orta Jame Mosque for the people to pray on Fridays. The president of Adjara was Aslan Abashidze. He was asked several times to build a mosque or to allocate a place to build a mosque. Our wish was to allocate a place and to build a mosque as well. Our wish was to build it next to the maritime bank, where there was a temporary bus station, which moved to the other side of the bridge. And that area was available. All the worshippers were asking for construction of a new mosque. The current mosque cannot accommodate the parish. We have been demanding construction of a new mosque for years. In 1995, Batumi Muslim parish addressed to the leader of the Autonomous Republic of Adjara, Aslan Abashidze, with an application requesting the construction of a new mosque. As you know, the current mosque cannot accommodate more than half of believers during Ramadan Bayram and Kurban Bayram. We hope our demand will be granted, the congregation asks. There were difficulties while praying the day of Bayram. People were praying outside the mosque during my times as well. There was an opportunity to expand the area, but it wasn't still enough for the prayer. Some representatives from the authorities came several times saying that there was necessity to build a new mosque because the current one was quite old building. The parish needs a place for praying. What can people do? A new mosque should be constructed anyway. When the people were allowed to pray, the mosque was overcrowded at once. Worshippers were praying on the stairs and in the yard as well. During the last 2 or 3 years of Aslan Abashidze's leadership, when he really needed people's power and support, he promised to build a new mosque which would be the best in the world. We have been expecting and permanently addressing to him for years, but when he consolidated his powerful base somehow, he forgot to keep his promise and did not build a mosque. He came to the mosque to meet us and said word by word that if you don't stop, if you don't obey me, then I will manage to carry out reparation works in this mosque for 3 years and I will make void everything. The Muslim parish got quite larger and worshippers did not have enough space to pray in those times. We were putting some mats in the yard for praying. We had recourse to everyone, to the authorities of Adjara, to the Supreme Council, all governing bodies almost. We want, and we always wanted to unload that mosque. Wherever is an opportunity in the city for building a new mosque, which will be easily accessible for the parish, that was our demand, and not exactly Azizi or Azizi's place for the construction of a mosque. The number of parish has been increasing every single day. We had to pray outside and it's still ongoing. There wasn't possibility to the parish to pray freely. We held talks with the authorities about necessity to construct a new mosque. Since 1990 till now, we, the Georgian Muslims, have been requesting a new mosque in Batumi, and we don't need this to advertise us or just to get some points in our favor. There is necessity for that, and it should be constructed.
Batumis მეჩეთის მოთხოვნა არა 2010-დან 2000.
The Muslim community of Adjara has been asking for permission to build a new mosque in Batumi for over decades. It has not started from 2010 till 2015. It started about 20 years ago. Batumi Mosque cannot accommodate worshippers for over the past 10 years. About 1,500 people can hardly pray in the yard outside on the carriageway. I can tell you my experience when I was dizzy, especially on Friday praying. No mats, no carpets, no rugs were enough for praying. Cemal Paksadze applied with official letter to the chairman of Batumi Municipality Council Sakrebulo, Irakli Chavleishvili, in 2013, requesting construction of a new mosque. We had around 10-15 meetings with the central and local government demanding a new mosque. We want a mosque. We don't need Azizia, Husikan or Ali Osmana. The only thing we need is a mosque. Representatives of the local and central government have several times promised the Muslim parish that they would grant permission to build a new mosque, including the current government. Have you ever noticed people praying outside in the yards in Batumi streets? It's obvious that there is not enough area for praying even in the yard. There is no problem, of course, because there are more than 200 mosques in Georgia and in Adjara, so there is not any problem to build a new mosque here. The main reason for construction a new mosque is to accommodate those that regularly want to pray each Friday. During the original discussions, it was agreed that the Georgian Muslims would finance the new mosque from their own resources, and it would be built according to Georgian architecture style. There are 3 different sites recommended for the new mosque, and once it should be selected for the new building, and even the Prime Minister stated that he would help with the construction. The new mosque will be constructed for Muslims in Georgia in order to have the possibility to pray. A mosque will be constructed in Georgia and will be constructed by Georgian money, by the Georgian state, but it will not be named after Azizir. Despite Muslim clerics' demands and promises made by the authorities stated in October 2014 that they would not now build a new mosque in Batumi. What happened in October 2014? In October 2014, Zazava Shahmadze, head of the State Agency for Religious Issues, made an application addressed to the Prime Minister, given the impression that it was written by the Muslims. This application had 6 main clauses. One of them stated, as an alternative to expand the active Orta Jami Mosque in Batumi or to building up a new mosque in Batumi. It requested that the government restore the Orta Jami Mosque in Batumi. Since then, the head of the State Agency for Religious Issues, Zazava Shahmadze, has been manipulating and inferring that the Georgian Muslims parish do not want nor need to construct a new mosque in Batumi. A madrasa was transferred to them. The reconstruction project was launched. It is quite interesting large-scale project. Agency of Monument Protection of Adjara and the chairman of the government are involved in this process. There are certain steps made in its moving forward successfully. The above message came from the State Agency for Religious Issues and not the Muslim community or Muslim leadership. The message was submitted to the Muslim leaders by the state and they were asked to sign it. The docking of an American Navy vessel occurred the day, and the U.S. ambassador to Georgia arranged a meeting between the ex-Prime Minister of Georgia, Irakli Garibashvili, and me on the ship. He was told that the information might be inaccurate and requested another formal meeting with him and Georgian Muslims. They were just keeping acting that way using old methods with Georgian Mufti administration, as if this administration was speaking out on behalf of all Georgian Muslims. The Prime Minister came to Batumi, but there was a misunderstanding concerning the Batumi Mosque. the alternative option of restoring and enlarging the Orta Jami instead of building the new mosque. The Prime Minister was told that this alternative was not to our satisfaction, and I, personally, Aslana Bashidze, highlighted this clause in the document. The issue for construction of a new mosque has always been the main objective. I can make it clear. The state has transferred the residence building to Mufti administration, building to theology faculty madrasa, but those buildings are state-owned, so it means that the government has handed over those buildings for the temporary occupation. As to the land plot issue for mosque, it was on the agenda. It is and it will be on the agenda always. A protest against the agreement signed in 2014 between the State Agency for Religious Issues and Muslims Administration resulted in more than 12,000 signatures on a petition requesting the building of a new mosque. It should be emphasized the fact that the petition for construction of a mosque was signed by those people who had signed the above-mentioned petition imposed by the State Agency for Religious Issues in 2014. I, as a Georgian woman, and all Georgian women are concerned in my country about the fact that the current mosque is too narrow to accommodate worshippers. Women have the same rights as men at Friday prayers, Bayram prayers, and etc., but cannot use the mosque in our country. In 21st century, I, as a Muslim woman, am concerned over this issue. When we say to be tolerant, to be equal, but I don't see any equality in this 21st century at all. Men and women should have equal rights to pray. This is not the case in Batumi according to my viewpoint. Let's allocate this site for construction of the new mosque so all Georgian Muslims, including both women and men, can pray without being in the streets. It is necessary and compulsory to build a new mosque in Batumi city. The locals feel uncomfortable about the fact that Batumi streets are blocked for more than 2 or 3 hours. How is it possible to expand it? I can't imagine how the mosque can accommodate all those people. It's actually a century cultural monument, and there's real danger that this mosque might collapse during expanding works. We should not touch the building, it's impossible. Let's allocate a site for construction, and we Georgian Muslims will build up a new mosque with our funds. The parish is enough and it is more increased, as we have to pray in the streets. It is very difficult, so it is extremely necessary. We have been requesting for the new mosque for at least 20 years. On behalf of all women, I would like to state that rights are being violated not for men, but for women as well. Our religion requires that we all have equal rights, men and women, to perform Friday prayer, Bayram prayer, but there is not enough space for men and so for women. It is vital that women have sufficient space and privacy to wash. The women are not supposed to stand in the street. There should be religiously a certain limit between men and women. Men are praying in the street. Women's rights are restricted everywhere. The State Agency for Religious Issues is actively using the so-called agreement of 2014 as a pretext to refuse construction of a mosque. But the Muslim parish demands are clear each day. Nobody knows for how long will this pretext serve. The necessity and importance of a mosque is obviously depicted in this film. It's unclear when will the authorities deign to resolve the problem. But before that, old people and as well as disabled people using wheelchairs will have to pray outside. The parish will be praying in the yard, street, corridors, on the balcony, in the imam's office and even in the kitchen.
სამზარეულოშიც კი